Welcome back to Daytona Sandown Park, where we get ready to do battle around this 900-meter circuit for one final time in round one of the Elite Karting Series for 2024. And Karlis Elmanis starts on pole position. He was a whopping 1 second faster than Olly Smith in that previous race, which is why he starts on pole, with Olly having to settle for second. Luka Nik and Louis Draper share row 2 together. That should be an interesting battle. Adrian Perez is in 5th position, with Chris Phillips sharing row 3 with him. Ollie Cooper-Welton and Craig Dickinson make up row 4. Into our second page of the grid then, and it's Marl Harding and Andy Leister on row 5, Henry Walter and Yat Chilo making up the rest of your grid. So Karlis Elmanis will be on pole position for the final race of the day. Olly Smith shares the front row with him, and it should be an absolutely fantastic battle. I'm sure these two, some of the best drivers in the EKS. Luka Nik is on row 2. Him and Louis Draper also well and truly in this fight for one final time in round 1 of the EKS. Let's get underway. It is lights out and away we go, and Karlis Elmanis gets a good start, but for my liking, Olly Smith might just get a better one down into turn 1 and take the lead of the race. Ollie Cooper-Welton looking to make up some positions down into turn 1 himself. He's on the inside of Adrian Perez, and they're so close through Vale. Ollie going to have to put the brakes on, but can't quite squeeze his way through. So Olly Smith takes the lead of the race early into lap 1, and Karlis Elmanis going to have to recollect his thoughts. Ollie Cooper-Welton watching Adrian Perez make up a couple of positions, him trying to follow himself through. Goes through down the inside as Karlis Elmanis takes the lead of the race back. It's a late move on Olly Smith, now on the outside as they head onto the back straight. He's going to try, as a Sandown regular, use a bit of local knowledge and try and get the cut back and through into the hairpin. Ollie defends very well, brakes just late enough. Ollie Cooper-Welton making a bit of contact as well down into the final couple of corners. Karlis back down to the final corner and gets through, but Olly Smith gets the switch back. They stay side by side all the way down into turn 1. As an update on that Ollie Cooper-Welton thing, he wasn't getting through, so there won't be any calls there to be made. Olly Smith down the inside. Karlis, though, gets a fantastic launch. It's like a slingshot. Ollie defends the inside line. Karlis looks to get the crossover all the way onto the curbs. He's close to breaching track limits there. Back around the outside, though, able to get through this time. Karlis Elmanis showing you exactly how it's done at Sandown Park, Luke.
Yeah, great battle there between Karlis and Ollie. They were side by side for what, a good half a lap there. That was brilliant stuff. Those two showing utmost respect to one another as well. Both of them very successful drivers at Butmore Park in particular. Olly Smith, a 9-time champion at Butmore, and Karlis has been a regular at Butmore Park for many years. So these two are doing a great job here now, battling out here at Sandown Park. As now we've got Ollie Cooper-Welton. I think he may have just been taken out there by Chris Phillips, so that will be looked into by the stewards. Ollie now making a bit of a recovery drive back through the field, has made his way back past Andy Leister, and now Ollie up into P8. I think actually the incident may have been missed by the marshals there, so that may be one which Ollie wants to put an appeal in about afterwards. And so yeah, you see Ollie just raising his hand there, a little bit annoyed about the incident, as now we see on the drone shot as Adrian Perez took up the inside of Louis Draper going into turn number 2, but not quite able to make that move stick there. So Louis Draper holding on to 5th position at the moment, ahead of Adrian. I think actually Louis just got back past Adrian out of shot, because Adrian was ahead when they went across the line. So Louis doing a good job now, up in 5th position. We've seen now Adrian again on the drone shot up the inside of Louis Draper, heading through turn number 5 now. So let's see who ends up coming out on top of that one. You can see him up in the top of shot. Looks like they're still side by side going into turn number 6. And as they come across the finish line, we will see, as we can actually see them in the front of shot here, it is Louis Draper who is still in front of Adrian Perez. As we're on board now, Ollie Cooper-Welton battling out with Craig Dickinson for 7th position.
Ollie with a bit of fire in the belly, trying to get himself back up a few spots after the early challenge and the early spin into the wall. Obviously, the new appeal system, £10 for an appeal, goes to charity if you don't win the appeal. That's enforced at all EKS rounds this year, if I'm not mistaken. But Ollie now has really started to catch up to Craig Dickinson, and really will start to put the hammer down and get that pressure applied. Down into the left-hander they go, and Craig just able to brake late enough to fend off a challenge from Ollie Cooper-Welton. He's staying nice and sensible into the right-hander they go, and onto the back straight. Ollie almost draws alongside, but I think Craig just gets a bit of a better exit. Here's the move on that dry inside line. Craig Dickinson is able to collect his thoughts on the brake and just about hold on to that spot. But here goes Ollie Cooper-Welton down the inside. It's a brave, forceful move, and he asserts himself into that position. Ollie Cooper-Welton moves into 7th, and I think Craig Dickinson's going to have quite a difficult time getting himself back past Ollie Cooper-Welton. So Karlis Elmanis has dominated this race. He's not really put under that much pressure from Olly Smith, and he'll be really happy to potentially be back in the winning column here inside of Daytona Sandown Park. And in the EKS, as he rounds the final corner, Karlis Elmanis wins the final race of the night, and he's delighted with that. It's been a fantastic start to the year for him. Olly Smith will stream across the line in 2nd position. Another fantastic drive for Ollie. Luka Nik is a bit of a ways back. He's just making his way into the final couple of corners now. 3rd position, I think Luka will be pretty happy with that. It's been a very, very good start to the season for him as well, and he makes his way into 3rd. Chris Phillips will be shortly behind in 4th, then Louis Draper in 5th. It has been a fantastic round for Karlis Elmanis, and his 12.7 second victory inside of race 6 puts the cherry on that cake. Olly Smith finishes in 2nd position, with Luka Nik making up the rest of your top 3. Chris Phillips gets himself up into 4th position. He's been really, really promising in the EKS in this first round. Louis Draper making up the rest of your top 5. Adrian Perez-Sorozo, another one of our debutants, is in 6th, with Ollie Cooper-Welton in 7th, Craig Dickinson, Andy Laister and Yachi Low the rest of your top 10. Miles Harding and Henry Walter make up the rest of your results for the final race of the day. Okay, so we're here with Adrian after that final race of the day. Adrian, it's your first time here in the EKS, and it looks like it was a lot of fun today.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, really good driving standard, I have to say. Not every day you can go to a track and like fair game everywhere in every corner. Tricky conditions, half of the track was kind of dry, the other half it was, you know, every lap different, people going over the paths, changing conditions, so yeah, happy days.
And I see you're part of a team, so going for the team's championship, how do you rate your chances in both championships?
On the personal level, I don't think I got many chances. I will be happy to be within the top 10. Team-wise, my teammate is on a similar level as I am, so hopefully we can get a little bit farther than P10.
Ollie, first of all, welcome to the EKS once again. I've said this to pretty much everyone. Looks like you had a great time.
Yeah, it's been an interesting few races.
Yeah. And talk us through your races then. Obviously, you've done 3 of them. That's quite a lot to do over the course of an evening. How did they go generally?
Not as well as I would want to, but then again, hey, we're all looking for that little bit extra. So yeah, all in all, I had a little bit of a punt off in the last race, so I had to make up a few spaces. So I was consistent. I'm quite pleased with how I did. I could have done better, but then you know, you always want to win everything, don't you? So
We have now reached the end of the day, so we can take a look at our overall results. Philip Babalao has taken the victory in the junior class ahead of Don Balasatis in a close 2nd, with Charlie Foster rounding out the podium in 3rd. We've then got Dana Rohan in 4th ahead of Freddie Funnell up in 5th, and then Archie Prattley in P6. And now let's take a look at the senior overall results, where we had a record entry of 23 drivers. Ryan Sandel dominated all 3 races in the senior class, and as a result has taken the overall victory ahead of Karlis Elmanis in a close 2nd. Olly Smith rounds out the podium ahead of Jamie Shimon-Chase, with Adam Thompson taking an incredibly impressive P5. Callum Bendelow is in 6th place ahead of Sandown debutant Joseph Simcock, with Luka Nik, Chris Phillips and Louis Draper rounding out the top 10. Craig Dickinson is in 11th position ahead of Adrian Perez-Sorozo, with indoor regular Ross Sandwell impressing in 13th. George Braun did fantastically well on debut and would have been 7th overall had he not been marginally underweight in race 2, and then Ollie Cooper-Welton is in 15th place ahead of Dane Christensen, who is up in 16th. Alex Pritchard, meanwhile, is ahead of Chrissy Harding, who's in 18th. Chrissy also an indoor racer, making pretty much her debut outdoors. And we then got Henry Walter up in 19th as the top senior heavyweight driver, ahead of fellow heavyweight Andy Laister. Hugh Moreton, Yachi Low and Chrissy's husband Miles Harding then round out the field of 23 drivers. In the newly created team championship, Red Monster Racing just about come out on top ahead of Open Throttle, with the 2 Connecticut racing teams in 3rd and 4th. Podium Racing meanwhile are tied on points with Team 22 Racing, with Crawley Seekers and ADX Racing rounding out the standings.